Hi, I'm Peggy, and we're going to talk about lymphedema today. I promised you guys that I would do a series on weight and lymphedema. So I'm going to start off with just me talking about my personal journey and things that I have found in my 24 years of dealing with lymphedema. And then hopefully I'm going to have some guests come on that actually understand nutrition, actually understand the science behind lymphedema, and have some professional advice. Remember, what I'm sharing today is just my personal experience, things that I have seen, and things that make sense to me. As always, remember, I'm just somebody that's dealing with lymphedema. I am not offering medical advice, and I am not a doctor or any kind of a medical professional. I'm a photographer. Anyway, so I personally got lymphedema 24 years ago. My left leg started swelling out of the blue. I didn't know what was going on. It took 8 years to be diagnosed. By the time I was diagnosed, my left leg was approximately 3 times the size of my right leg. I couldn't put a shoe on. I only could wear sweatpants or like super wide leg jeans. I felt like a circus act. I felt like the lady that people stared at every time I went out in public. And that's kind of one of the main reasons why I want to cover this subject, because I feel like when you have lymphedema, dealing with the emotional side of lymphedema isn't always talked about as much as maybe it should be. Because as a woman, I've always had body image issues because I live in America and I watch TV, and I was never a size zero. So even the people that are a size zero oftentimes still have issues, body image issues. So I just want to throw that out there that a lot of things that I'm going to be covering today has to do with how we see ourselves and how we talk to others. Something that inspired me to do this was I saw some body shaming in lymphedema communities amongst ourselves. And I thought, you know what? This really needs to stop. It needs to stop in general, but amongst us, like we all have our own issues. So I don't like seeing people body shaming or saying hateful words or hurtful words to each other, especially when we're all dealing with our own issues. So back to my story. So I'm not even 30 years old yet. I'm 27 years old, I believe, when my leg swelled. So I'm still young. I've got some little kids running around and I'm going about my life. I was very active. I power walked, I Tae-Boed, I exercised every single day. I kept very active. And then all of a sudden, my leg swelled up and I was in a lot of pain. And I ended up in bed a lot because I didn't know what was going on. No diagnosis for 8 years. And so 8 years of, I don't know, spent way too much time in bed. And I started gaining weight. Not just my leg was swelling, but I was gaining weight like crazy. And I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what was going on. Now, once I was finally diagnosed, I thought in my head, oh, cool, we have a name for it, we can fix it. But then those dreaded words came and let me know that no, there is no fix to lymphedema. You're going to have lymphedema for the rest of your life. I was told that same day that today is the best day you'll ever be. Your leg will continue to get worse from here. You will never be better than you are today. I was devastated. The excitement of having a diagnosis went from complete excitement to devastation in those few words. Now, because I'm very stubborn and because I refuse to accept that, I am better than I am. My leg is actually in better shape now than it was then. I have been very diligent with self care. I've been very diligent with diet and nutrition. And my legs look better now than they did when I was first diagnosed. Now, on the flip side, my lymphedema has progressed. It's not just in my left leg, it is now my left leg, my abdomen, and recently, within the last 3 years, has moved to my right leg. So a lot of emotional things with that. You know, you get used to having one big leg and now you got two big legs. But again, I want to just kind of touch on how we look at ourselves and how we talk to ourselves and how we talk to each other. The one thing I want to make very clear is I do not believe in the word overweight. Um, the chart, our ideal weight scale, is not really a real thing. It was invented by insurance lobbyists and later adapted by doctors. And it's basically an excuse to not find a root cause. I'm sure if you have lymphedema, you have at least been told once, if not multiple times, well, you just need to lose weight. Yeah, no kidding, doc. But guess what? The system that my body has intact to remove excess weight is your lymphatic system. And guess what, buddy? Mine's not working right. So let's move on. And that's exactly how I feel. I feel like it's a terrible catch 22. If you lose weight, your lymphedema gets better. But if your lymphedema is bad, you can't lose weight. So it's super frustrating and it is a real thing. Is it impossible to lose weight when you have lymphedema? No, absolutely not. I've lost weight lots of times, which infers that I've also gained weight lots of times. But in general, I have been able to maintain my weight within reason. I always have a roller coaster of weight. I always have at least two sizes of clothes that I have for those times that I am flaring up and having, a rough time and really swollen and, dealing with things. And then my normal clothes. I like to call them my normal clothes, not my skinny clothes, even though I probably wear my big, well, you get it. Anyway, um, but here's the thing, when we get on forums and platforms and we say, well, if you weren't overweight, your lymphedema wouldn't be flared up as much, then it shifts the blame to you. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. Now, I am a huge, huge, huge believer that eating processed foods is horrible for us. Our bodies cannot handle all the extra toxins and poisons that processed foods gives us. So for the last 10 years, I really haven't touched any processed foods. I buy fresh foods, I prepare fresh foods, I don't buy things from cans or bottles or boxes. I make my food. Is that hard? No, it's really not. I know we all want to say it is, but I have a really busy life. I really am busy. So if I can do it, you can do it. Does it take a little bit of prep and a little bit of, organization? Yeah. I'm a photographer. So that means I'm kind of a creative person. So I'm just saying that to let you know that organization does not come natural for me. However, I have this great tool called a cell phone. It has calendar apps and reminder apps and all sorts of things that keep me organized and in line. And you can do the same thing for yourself. So, is it tough to switch from eating fast food to eating real food? Yeah. Is it tough to switch from eating pre-made stuff to actually cooking your foods? Yes, it is. But once you get going, you will feel so much better. You will have so much more energy that it's worth it. So that's my little rant on processed foods. Aside from that, I really believe that you need to eat intuitively. We all have other health issues. Almost everybody with lymphedema has their own triggers, their own issues, their own things. So, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. I right now am going through a crazy thing with my eating. I'm working with a nutritionist because I've had just a nightmare trying to figure out why I've had a 3 year long flare up. And I thought it was my lymphedema flaring up other issues, but I've come to believe that it was other things flaring up my lymphedema. I tend to blame lymphedema for everything. If something goes wrong, if I have a headache, I can blame that on lymphedema. Trust me, I blame lymphedema for everything. But I actually found out that I was eating some foods that were supposed to be anti inflammatory foods that were actually, I had an intolerance to. So it was actually causing me inflammation. So in my strive to eat right and do good and blah, 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 I was actually irritating my system, which was in turn flaring up my lymphedema. So I said all that to say there is no easy, here's the diet, this is what's going to work for you. It's always a struggle. It's always a game, a puzzle. You have to put those pieces together. But I think the reason I do these videos is to encourage you that you can figure it out. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out, because it's not been easy. I have been on several different things for a long time. Eating a plant-based diet was the key for me. I mean, for 10 years, a high alkaline plant-based diet was everything. It made me feel good. And then I started having flare-ups and irritations, and I didn't know what was wrong. I thought I was eating right, eating good. But it turns out that I had some other issues going on in my body, and I'm eating differently now, but I'm still eating clean. I still don't eat processed foods. I don't even remember what soda tastes like because it's been so long since I've had anything carbonated. So just really know that it's something that you can deal with. You just have to figure out what works for you. But the main takeaway is you're not overweight. You live in a human body, and human bodies come in all different sizes, all different shapes. And if your human body was smaller, would you feel better? Maybe. If your human body was a little bigger, would you feel better? Maybe. But you have to figure out what your human body wants to look like and feel like, and you have to be okay in your own skin. And that's a challenge for everybody. But when you have a condition that is a disfiguring condition, you either have a big arm or a big leg or whatever, wherever you're affected by the lymphedema, you have to deal with that on top of body size and weight and everything else. So I'm just here to tell you that overweight doesn't exist in my vocabulary. You weigh what you weigh, and that's what you weigh, and that's your human body's weight. Can you change it? Absolutely. Is it easy? Not always. For me, exercise causes me to swell and flare up. So I have to be really careful on what exercises I do. Do I stay active? Absolutely. However, I also do a lot of things like I lay on a chi machine, which moves my body and moves my muscles, but it doesn't put the strain and stress on me as running or walking would. So, you have to figure out what works for your human body. The other thing I really want to point out is that no matter how messed up your body may be and how frustrated you may be with your body, always remember that your body is keeping you alive. So let's just kind of take a minute and tell our bodies thank you, because your bodies are going through a lot of things. And I think that's what changed me is a friend of mine talked to me about loving my body, and I thought that was kind of weird. But I kind of separated myself from my body, and I looked at my body as my best friend. And if I would never talk to my best friend the way I talk to my body, like, you're so fat, you're so ugly, you're so blah, blah, blah. I would never say that to my best friend. So think about your body and all the things it's going through. I often say, you know what, body, I'm sorry that you're swollen today. I'm sorry that you're in pain today, but thank you for allowing me to live another day and carrying me through this amazing life. So I just hope that that encourages you, and keep posted, because I will be getting actual professionals on here to talk about nutrition and to talk about some things that may be helpful for you. Um, we have to be careful. We can't eat high fat diets because lymphatic systems, what moves the fat. So, high fat diets need to be moderated and changed to maybe moderate fat diets. And, there's all sorts of things that we have to think about that normal people with normal functioning lymphatic systems don't necessarily have to think about. But it was very important to me that I at least got something out to you and got you this first video. Even though I'm not a professional, I wanted to encourage you and let you know that you live in a human body and your human body is awesome, even if it looks different than someone else's. Okay, guys, have a great day and carry on. I'll see you soon.